In the fiscal year 2025 congressional budget request, the city requested $97 million for the emergency planning and preparedness. $47 million of that request was allocated for expenses surrounding the upcoming presidential inauguration. That funding resolution was fulfilled in September continuing resolution. We have subsequently received a request for additional funding for the inauguration as well as money for other emergency preparedness purposes. Of course, we need to take all necessary precautions to ensure safety and security standards are met. While funding for police, fire, and emergency medical services and Homeland Security make up the bulk of that request, the funding request is a significant increase from what was requested in 2021. Mayor Bowser, can you explain the additional funding needs in more detail? And is every dollar requested intended for reimbursing federal expenses related to the inauguration?
Mostly, it reflects increases in inaugural costs, but also all of the costs that MPD incurs because of our special federal status and how we support the federal government. So the Metropolitan Police Department is our local DC police, and we support the Secret Service on movements of dignitaries. We support federal land in the district where there are First Amendment activities, or protests, or demonstrations, and we support big events like the 4th of July, of course, and the inauguration. What we've seen since 2021 that you reference, in 2021 we had about 524 such events. Last year we had 1,525 such events. So we are detailing our police officers and accounting for additional time, largely, that our MPD is supporting those events. We also think that inaugural costs are increasing. You have mentioned the threat environment that is different in this inauguration, even in previous inaugurations where there's always a high level of security. As you know, these are designated national special security events under the leadership of the United States Secret Service. We work hand in hand with the service to support the security of the event. Our expectation is even that the additional $3 million that we have requested is based on the costs that are coming in.
And I'd like to have you expound on how is the city partnering with Capitol Police, Secret Service, and other federal law enforcement to ensure the safety and security of President-elect Trump, Vice President-elect Vance, and all those who will be in attendance at the inauguration?
Yes, so the National Special Security Event structure is led by the United States Secret Service. We have an organization that stood up every 4 years called the DC PIC, Presidential Inauguration Committee. There's a similar PIC committee from the Congress, and we work hand in hand with the incoming administration, the Presidential PIC Committee, to ensure that the activities have appropriate support. So the Secret Service organizes all of the security individuals in partnership with the federal law enforcement officials and the Metropolitan Police Department.
At this point, is the city prepared for the inauguration, particularly in terms of having enough police and security officers? And how many memorandums of understanding have been signed with other jurisdictions for an increased police presence for 2025? Do you know by any chance the number of jurisdictions? I remember some being housed in our garages over
Yes.
in the Capitol Office Building. How many officers have been committed, and how does that compare to 17 and 21?
Well, the chief, actually, we gave a report out yesterday to the DC community, and we would like to have 4,000 officers. I think we're at 3,998, something like that. And the chief
Trending in the right
also
direction.
reported that departments continue to reach out to her to request, to come and support the activities. So we think in terms of the number of law enforcement officials that we'll have the number that we expect.
Do you believe there'll be enough law enforcement to keep the residents, dignitaries, and visitors safe?
We are certainly going to work through the process, work hand in hand with Secret Service to make sure that any unusual threats, we don't have that type of intelligence at this stage, and we will work to make sure that we have local law enforcement to support the Secret Service's security plan.